Hello and welcome to another of
To the Lume plotters.
the riveting episodes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. We have gotten another comment for our podcast. Do you want me to read
apparently,
it? I'm not so sure if it's so.
we seem to have a lot of comments, and most of them relying around the same trends of stay on topic. Martin talks too much over Ralph.
Yeah.
What else do they say?
Yeah, it's mostly around this, but also we get some good, just generally positive comments about that it's nice banter and that we have a lot of interesting things to talk about. So,
yes,
in this case, it was from BB Bento. Sorry. Now, of course, I am screwing this up. BB Berto from the US. He says, you gentlemen should start your own podcasts. Ralph can talk to interesting guests about watches and Martin can talk about himself.
That's all we do. That's all we do.
I thought, it's fitting. But what can we do? We're stuck
once again
together now.
It's been very clear that so there's another new podcast in the Watch podcast.
But again, thank you for your rating, BB Berto. We will try to get you to change your rating to 5 stars in the future.
What did he give?
4.
What did he give? 4.
Yeah. So
at the end of the day,
we're doing our best. We're doing our best. But thank you very much for just even bothering to give us a rating at all. So thanks for that.
But it is true. If it wasn't for Ralph, we wouldn't talk to anyone. I think 99.9% of our guests have been Ralph's doing. I'm fine just talking about myself, so I have no other issues. But what I wanted to say though is there's another new podcast. If you've seen it, it's on the Time and Tide YouTube channel, and it is called
A Matter of Time.
A Matter of Time. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
A Matter of Time, and it involves 3 people. All 3 people from like a highly established watch world. And the first one is the guy from Time and Tide, Andrew McCutcheon.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is apparently this Danish guy who I have followed for a very long time on Instagram. He has the best Instagram pictures of his watches. Christian Hagen.
Mm-hmm.
I think his Instagram handle is Christian Hagen, so check him out because he takes super cool pictures. He's just a vibe in general. Like the guy is absolutely a vibe. I think he's in his 60s probably, and he dresses to the nines. He's like John Goldberger style. He's super cool. And then lastly, it's that Eleanor something or Picciotto from Revolution, who is no longer with Revolution apparently. So
no, she's with the 1916 company now, I think.
They seem to have taken
or maybe
everyone.
I don't know for sure where if she's fully employed somewhere, but if she's freelancing with different organizations. But she is appearing on the 1916 podcast, of course, A Matter of Time, and I think she has 1 or 2 other gigs that I recently saw her at. So she is really very, very busy at the moment. So. And she's a lovely lady.
All 3 of these.
I met her at the Dubai Watch Week, and she is fantastic. Really super friendly, super nice, very approachable, and she's really lovely. As a person.
Point of story. All 3 of these are very, very well established watch figures in the watch world. They have 0 banter together. It is the same thing as if you remember back in the 1990s, 1980s, America had the basketball team, the Dream Team, right? And everybody remembers the 1996 Atlanta games. The Dream Team just killed everyone, right? Well, it didn't start that way. When they first decided, and the Olympics made the rule that professionals could play in the Olympics, America's like, we're going to kill everyone. And they just literally got all of the top players from like all these different teams and plopped them into one thing. And guess what? They got beat by like the shittiest teams. And the reason was, of course, that they didn't want to play together. They were all like the top player in their team, so they weren't team players. Everyone played around them. So they were very terrible. And this is kind of what I'm getting from this podcast. They are.
I think
there's no gelling.
This gelling, I think it takes also time, right? I mean, but they just started, so they have, I think, 2 podcasts are live so far, right? At the moment where we're recording this, and I agree with you to a certain extent that they actually have a bit of a. I think they're just at the moment, at least, haven't yet found the groove really.
Yeah.
The comments are very split. I think Christian Hagen, first of all, why he has the best photos on Instagram is because he's a, digital creative director and whatever, and he's a professional photographer. So, yeah, and he loves watches. So that's, of course, 2 passions that, or professions basically that fit together very well, because photographing watches is not easy, right? There's so many things to consider with photographing watches, right? That it's, I think a professional will do a good job. And he does a fantastic job. He's also, you can book him for speeches, you can book him for workshops and other things. He's an author. He writes on his own blog, on his website. You can check it out. So he's a very interesting person. And McCutcheon is an interesting person.
I mean,
what he has done. He's also a writer by profession and publisher. So, I mean, this is just all, even Andrew McCutcheon wrote books before, right? So everything is, they're really good at what they do. But I think you're right, they have to gel a bit more, and I think they have to find their groove of how to actually conduct themselves in the podcast. I don't know how they actually record them, if they record a multiple of these episodes in one day. I guess yes, because they all have to fly into London to record there. Means that, except McCutcheon, who now lives there. But other than that, I think they have to optimize their time. And that's always a bit of a challenge when you do this, right?
Well, we know this from About Effing Time. They did the same thing, and they filmed all the episodes in 2 days. So obviously you're not going to get into a groove like that. Ralph and I have gotten into our groove over many, many years of doing this. I think we're on our, 3rd year now of doing this.
And yet
weekly.
We still have people saying we haven't found the groove yet. So we're still working on it.
At the end of the day, we also don't really care, but don't tell anyone we said that.
We make no money with it, right? I mean, we have no financial interest. We both have full-time jobs. We do this because we just enjoy talking about watches together, and thought maybe somebody wants to listen to us. So if you do, thank you so much.
After a number of 1 hour long phone calls talking about watches, at some point you just say, why don't we just press record?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what happened. Now, okay, I do want to say this. If they're doing this recording thing that they're doing, where they're all doing a bunch of episodes in one day, they're not really going to get into a groove. And it's a shame, because I like all 3 of these people. But once again, look at what happened with About Effing Time. I liked all 3 of those people. You put them together, and it was cringeworthy at some points, right?
Sometimes it was good. Sometimes it was. I think yes, but I mean, we cannot complain because it's free. I mean, we are not paying for anything. There's no paid podcast version of it or anything like that yet. And I like that. It's free content. We can, the problem is you can't really complain if you get something for free. However, I think it will take some time to get into the groove. And I think maybe they have to scale down, because I think they're making the same mistake again. Very high production value. Yep. Right, with multiple camera angles and super editing and all of this stuff. Maybe keep it more organic and easy, a bit less professional, so that it's not as expensive to produce. Yes, it won't be as polished, but does it have to be? Because I don't know how you consume this kind of content. I'm most often when I listen to podcasts, I'm either in the car, so I can't really watch the screen, except if I'm in a traffic light. Otherwise, I'm walking the dogs, also cannot really watch the screen that much. Sometimes I watch at home, where I have the ability to watch the screen, but it's, you're not 100% focused most of the time on the visual quality, so it doesn't really matter if it's super high production value. So I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe focus more a bit about the continuities that you meet, frequently, and just get into that. Just also become more acquainted to each other, because I don't know how well they know each other, right? So maybe they just like us. We didn't know each other in the beginning either, so we just started talking to each other basically with a podcast and learning each other
It's strange. It's strange how that, came to be. But in their case, I also don't see, like you and I, as we said, we do other things besides watches. So it's nice for us. It's almost like we get away from our jobs talking about watches. For them,
it's a real hobby,
this is their job. So if this is already your job, to get and do this as well, it's just more work. And that's what I don't get. Like, what are you going to, are they really going to get into a groove? No, because it's never really an escape for them.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it could be that this is a bit less about, and selling or writing. It's just talking about certain topics that they enjoy talking about. I think they're also passionate about watches. I mean, surely they are. Otherwise, they wouldn't have volunteered for that. But I do think they will get better, 100% over time.
But they're not going to get worse. I mean,
no. I think realistically, I think that they will get into a better groove. Right, or they start really fighting each other, but I don't see that happening.
No, I think Eleanor's too polished for that.
Yeah, and they're all, I think, very, very smart and intelligent people. So it's, I think it will be becoming interesting.
Happens.
But one thing I wonder is, are they different? I mean, they are, of course, very different personalities, but are they different enough? Or are they just all too friendly in order to become this kind of, and if they want to do it again, like the Top Gear, the Top Gear for watches, if that's like the About Effing Time sequel, basically.
It seems very much like it is.
I'm not so sure if they are, having these opposing opinions enough. But we can see.
And I also do think that all of them, especially, I think Christian Hagen can kind of do whatever he wants because he's not affiliated with anyone. But this Eleanor Picciotto and whatever his other name is.
Okay, we learned this name now.
Guy.
So because you can't always say whatever. Eleanor Picciotti.
Andrew McCutcheon.
Picciotti.
And Eleanor
Picciotti.
It's Picciotto.
Is she pronounced Picciotto? Picotto? How did she pronounce herself? Then we have to just.
It's a ch. I think you're right because it's one C is a K in Italian.
It's a double C.
Double C is a ch. No.
I mean, look, we have listened to him presenting her, and I don't know if he just said Eleanor or if he said the whole name, but we have to just make sure that we do this. I think it's Eleanor Picciotti.
You put it into Google Translate and you say pronounce.
Thank you. Hey, Eleanor, just say Eleanor. That's easy.
Yes, Eleanor. Now, the thing is, they're affiliated with brands. They have, responsibilities to brands that they cannot say whatever they want. If I say something like, "Oh, I hate the new Breitlings," no one's going to care. If they say it, Andrew McCutcheon might not get Breitling as a, ad in Time and Tide. So this is the kind of issues that we run into with podcasts that are made by people that have brand affiliations.
Two of them. I mean, look, Christian Hagen has an own shop on his website. Besides that, you can actually book him. He also sells watch straps and books and bracelets and watches and lifestyle products. So everybody has an interest in selling. 1916 Company, of course, is a major watch retailer. Andrew McCutcheon has his Time and Tide and his watch shops in London and the boutiques or these watch hangout places where he has actually he's authorized dealer for a couple of brands. So yes, they have their Time and Tide special editions, right, that they are bringing out of limited edition watches. Yep, everybody wants to sell you something. And I recently watched a podcast, Constant Time is his name.
Okay.
And somebody else who basically was talking about these watch podcasts and how every watch podcast and YouTuber is shilling for some kind of brands and praising the latest micro brands of the best thing in the world because they probably get a bit of whatever advertising from them, free watches and so on. And basically they said he mentioned this, and it's really cool. Look for him in YouTube, Constantine. I'm not always agreeing with his opinions, but I think it's a very nice and thought-provoking podcast. Besides, of course, This Watch, That Watch with Mike, which is also amazing. But anyhow, this Constantine, this guy is pretty good as well. Now, he said, don't watch podcasts or YouTubers that have something to sell. And I thought, yeah, I mean, if you want independent opinions about things, listen to people that have nothing to sell to you, like us. We cannot, even if we wanted to, we cannot sell you anything. Maybe I'm working on this. We need to have a mug. We need to have a Lume Plotters mug. That's it.
And it has to be loomed.
That's the biggest challenge, yes. But it has to.
Oh, you know when the hot liquid comes up and it changes colors?
Yeah, that's possible, but that's not the same thing. And then, of course, Lume in the dishwasher. I am
Close
not
enough.
so sure how long that lasts. Probably 2 washes.
Hand wash only. It's no problem.
Hand wash.
You just put hand wash only.
See, that's refuting to my own use pattern. So, yeah, let's see.
You break
will
it,
think about
it's
something.
your fault.
Maybe we need to make a ceramic-induced superluminava mug, which will cost then 1,000 Swiss francs to make or something. Did we not just recently hear how expensive Lume is?
No, we did not discuss
okay,
this.
then I listened to it somewhere, and it's like a gram of superluminova, a full gram or something of that is like $1,000.
How many grams are on a watch?
Expensive. It's bloody expensive. If you have the highest grade superluminova, it's bloody expensive. So that's why I think a lot of companies are saving it, and of course also not using pure. They're mixing it with something. Obviously, it's sometimes with ceramic and other things, but superluminova is expensive, man. It's not cheap. So I was shocked.
I'm looking it up right now. How much Lume is on a watch?
Maybe ChatGPT knows that. Who knows?
Unfortunately, they say typically very small, measured in grams or even fractions of a gram.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, ChatGPT, for another genius. 1/10 of a gram generally is one comment on Reddit.
So I'm just asking.
So 1/10, that's $100. It's 100 euros, 100 francs, whatever you want to say, of Lume. So I guess that's what's.
Sorry, 1 gram, it says here, the current price for 1 gram of superluminova BGV 9 grade A luminous pigment is approximately $80 on platforms like eBay. Okay, so I was wrong with $1,000. $80 per
it's not very
gram
much.
on Twitter.
And you need 1/10 of a gram.
But this is not what I meant. Somewhere I got this, a watch manufacturer has come forward and said how expensive Lume is for them. But maybe was it because of the ceramic? I don't know. I have to look this up. Next episode I will get it right.
Microsoft Copilot coming in handy over here.
I will get it right. Yeah. Okay, so that's about this podcast.
Can we talk about Microsoft Copilot for a second? Do you remember the little Microsoft Clippy or whatever his name was?
Of course, I know Clippy. I grew up with Microsoft Word and Office and all of this stuff. I know Clippy.
How, you know how much I hate Microsoft? All they had to do with Copilot is to have Clippy tell you your answers. And I would have been like, that's awesome. And sure enough, even this they couldn't get right. They already have the IP for Clippy, but they couldn't think to just put, instead of Copilot, have Clippy dancing over there doing something, and you ask it a question and Clippy tells you the answer. It would have been great.
You know who's their customers?
Old people.
No, corporations.
Yeah, well, corporations like Clippy.
Corporations don't like a dancing Clippy.
You could turn it on and off. Done. Problem solved.
It's maybe the normal users, if like the normal private users.
Yeah, but they have zero fun. I could imagine working at Microsoft and you go in your black suit and black tie, and
so
this is how IBM used to be.
Have you been at the Microsoft campus?
No, but I've heard stories about the IBM campus.
I've been spent a day there because my sister-in-law works for Microsoft. So. Disclosure, right? And it's actually fantastic. There's nobody in a black suit. It's super relaxed. They have a very interesting culture. It does look very... honestly, it looks like a place you really want to work. It's a lovely area there. But I mean, also a lovely campus, lovely offices, everything's really cool. But I do feel that under Satya Nadella, the company has really changed. I mean, this whole software first, and it's really good products that are coming out of there. I don't think it's as stiffy as it used to be, and I think I like using them. I like using. There's no spreadsheet. For example, fine. That I would ever use except Excel, because it just works better. I mean, I tried. What is it called? Numbers.
Numbers suck. No, I have to say, all of the Apple suite sucks.
Pages is not bad. I like Pages, but if you really want to produce a professional document with complex layout and stuff and hierarchy and auto-generating things, you end up with Word most of the time again.
Yeah.
And Word is a bit of, if you work like Word wants you to work, it does work. But
now, at the end of the day, Seattle, where they're based, is one of the top cities in the world for suicide. And what? I wonder if it's because it's raining all the time.
No, that must be Starbucks.
Or because they're working for Microsoft.
But it does rain a lot. It does rain a lot there.
Yeah, it literally rains more than it doesn't
rain. It's a lovely, I mean, there's so many forests, mountains, beautiful countryside. You're very close to Canada, you just hop over to Vancouver. It's really cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, in 2023, I'm just double check. I don't like saying things if they're not true, but yes, 2023, Washington State, where Seattle is, had the highest national suicide rate. And of course, it comes down to the weather, right? The weather is so dreary 90% of the time that, it's not, you're not going to have a beam of sunshine. But I think that goes into the Microsoft mentality. You look at the things made in California, look at Apple, look at, Google, and there's so much more joy in those products. And there has to be a correlation here.
Okay, if you think so. I don't know.
Everything Microsoft makes is clinical, and and it's very, fitting to where they're located.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of back and forth there, because I'm spending my entire workday on Microsoft products, basically, right? Of course, besides our own software, but it's really. I do enjoy to a certain extent. Yes, there's lots of things where you sometimes think, oh my God, that's like the Microsoft of old. If you ever think about this whole, let's talk not
you get my point. Like there's some Microsoftiness going on sometimes, and it's just things that you could improve yourself as a non-Microsoft employee. I could say I could make this 10 times better, and it's simple things, just once again, putting more joy into products. And they just...
But Clippy is very divisive, because Clippy is also the most hated mascot ever used.
So you turn it on and off. Turn it on and off. You give it an option in the settings. Don't hide it. Just say, do you want Clippy on? You want Clippy off? I would always say I want Clippy on.
Okay, you're the one of the few people who actually liked Clippy. I think
it was
Clippy,
so cool.
Everybody liked hating Clippy,
Yeah, that's why it was fun. Now you bring it back, and it's one of those things like bell-bottom jeans are back in style. I think
this was the idea. Let me ask, Copilot, is Clippy still around?
You misspelled Clippy.
Yeah. Let's see what Microsoft Copilot says. Yes, Clippy is making a comeback. There are two exciting developments around Clippy in 2025. Clippy as an AI assistant on an unofficial project. So there you go. Clippy's original animations and style from the 90s paired with modern AI will come back, and you can actually install the new Clippy if you want to. And
on Windows and Mac and Linux.
Yeah, that's in any case something really good. They're now so much more focused on their own products and less on, just operating systems. Even though I had a Windows phone back in the days. these Nokia Venue phones, and I really liked the UI. I thought it was very, very nice. It just was too late in the market, but I really enjoyed using this. It was really cool with the tiles, and everything was just very, very convenient, very fast, very simple.
Yeah, well, that was before Apple phones came around and perfected it. Back then, your choice was, and I remember distinctly, your choice was you choose the Windows, which was Nokia, Samsung used Windows, or you chose BlackBerry, which BlackBerry, remember, all of your emails for the longest time would come as text only.
Yeah, I had a BlackBerry. I had BlackBerry for I don't know how many years. I had BlackBerry.
Yeah. So they were really basic, those BlackBerry phones. Yeah, they were really good at what they did, but remember, you couldn't have HTML formatted emails.
That came eventually.
There's a lot of things. It came eventually, but by that time, everyone did it.
Because it was using this push email system that was highly data optimized. So they would strip HTML down to the bare bones and then serve you some simple version of it. Yeah, not the full.
Yeah, essentially what you would get from a text editor, right? So hence, this is why the reason I chose to go with the Windows phones at the time. And then, of course, everyone started, when the Apple not AI, UI came out in the iPhone, then everything changed and everyone had to play catch up.
Yeah, and I remember when BlackBerry said, who would want a touchscreen phone? We have the best keyboard in the world. And I must admit, it was the best keyboard in the world.
This is one reason I was hesitant to switch to the iPhone, is because of how good the BlackBerry keyboard was.
It was a joy.
Also, the Nokia keyboard was good. Yeah.
All
right.
Okay.
Once again,
so what are you wearing on your wrist?
Are going to hate
because
us.
Before we go back to podcasts.
I'm wearing a watch that I recently acquired. This very weird guy sold it to me. Crazy person, and he just wanted to get rid of it. It seemed, but it's a G-Shock medal.
Yeah, I don't know where you got that from.
Yeah, nothing. This is the GMWB 5000 D1, which is the silver all-metal G.
That's one of the originals
that I bought from Ralph.
When I culled my G-Shock collection, my G-Shock Square collection, which is down to one. Yeah, I mean, like the proper G-Shock Square, the GMW collection. Yeah, it's down to one. And I only have the titanium TWA. Is it A? Yeah, I think it's TWA one, the black one. It's, personally, for me, it's the best one, but it's also, I was recently looking at the G-Shock Squares again. I know.
Which one? Which color are you missing?
Actually, what I was looking at was this GMWB 5000 in steel, but with the green surround. It has a small, not the bezel, but in the display, a small green one.
The inlay.
It's still a positive display, so not the inverted one. So that's I like. I mean, I'm a bigger fan of the positive ones, not the negative ones.
Yeah, me too.
And it's just and if there's a good deal, maybe.
There's a few that I was really looking at. Of course, my favorite is the Trantixi, which is the titanium version, and each one of the links is different colored, and it's just so weird. It's so cool. I saw it at 50% off, and even then I was like, it was 3,000 dirhams at 50% off. But it just, I don't think I would ever wear it. That's the thing. But it looks so cool.
It's not as bad if you have it on your wrist. So it looks better. But it's...
I haven't tried it on ever. But all right, what are you wearing?
I am wearing my DUG Purist Type 2. My Deutsche Uhrenwerke Glashütte. Uhrenmanufaktur Glashütte. And I really enjoyed this watch. I still enjoy it so much. It's I have put it back on the bracelet. I got it in a buffalo leather, the blue buffalo leather strap. Of course, 20 millimeter lug width, and so that means it's super easy. I have plenty of straps for it, and it really takes straps a lot. It does look great in a lot of different. With a lot of different trousers, basically. So, by the way, I didn't tell you the second big announcement of Clippy, that it will come back as a co-pilot avatar. So it will come. You will get exactly what you wanted.
So this is what I'm saying.
But then you have to use it. You get what you want, so use it.
I'm not going to use it because my operating systems are going to be probably too old for this. I'm still very hesitant to get a new computer.
Well, I recently saw. I mean, look in the super sale, right, on Prime Day here in the UAE. From Amazon, some M1 MacBook, sorry, not M1 MacBook, M1 Mac Mini.
MacBook Air.
You
say, Mac Mini.
For I think it was really, really very close. I mean, it was a new machine. It wasn't renewed. And the prices were just crazy, 1,200 or 1,100 dirhams. And that's still
you should have sent that to me because I would have bought it.
Computer. And then the current one is also 2,500, I think, normal price with 16 GB RAM, which is a good thing to have.
Well, you're on an M1 as well, right? Your MacBook Air is an M1.
No, it's an M2. I got the M2.
M2. One. Okay, well, we benchmarked, Ralph and I benchmarked my 2013 Mac Pro, which is the desktop that they used to sell. Mine is the trash can one made, and this is the last product, Apple product, to be actually built in the USA, not just designed. So, we benchmarked it, and we came back on the Cinebench and on what was the other benchmarking tool we used?
I don't know, but I think in a multi-core, you were actually quite okay.
Geekbench and Cinebench.
Geekbench, was it Geekbench?
Well, you and I came back in the same rating.
Yeah, just not for the single core, because I have much less cores than you have, so that's why.
I know we looked at the multi-core score.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think you have more cores.
I have 16.
Yeah, so I only had whatever, 8 or 4 or 6 something.
I think I have 16.
The M2. I don't know how many 16? It has. I think it has 2 high performance and 4
the fact is I bought this freaking processor and I don't even know what I put it in, and I don't remember what the hell I bought.
These Xeons are not bad. I mean, I have a 24 virtual cores, 12 core Xeon workstation.
No, it's 12
for Windows, which was an old architect CAD drawing system. And because I got this for, I think, 600 terms at the time, it was just ridiculous.
Here's mine. Yeah. I will tell you exactly. Mine is exactly what you just said, a Xeon 12 core, 2.7 gigahertz. Yeah. And I paid a grand total of, where is it?
Yeah,
the order is confirmed. 65 US doll hairs.
Yeah, that's because these older Xeons are, of course, you don't find, I think, motherboards anymore, new ones, right? You can only find the old computers to put them in because they're so old. But they still can crunch some numbers from a CPU perspective, but at a cost because they are so inefficient compared to the new ones, right? Where I can run this new MacBook Air with whatever, 10 watts or 15 watts maximum intake. These things take 150, 180 watts and they run these processors. You need
I can use my computer. Yeah, I was going to say I can use mine as a space heater if I need to, if it gets really cold. But I mean, the thing is, here it is 15 or almost 15 years later. And it's still freaking working like a champ. Like I used it yesterday to convert, I think it was like 6 episodes of a show to a different file format, which generally takes a lot of processing to do. And I did it in, a minute, an episode. Each episode was about a gigabyte. So it can do a lot of...
Yeah, now it's, in any case, all of these video codec encoding and stuff is using your GPU rather than the CPU. If you want to do that, right, with like Handbrake and other things, where you can really, if you have a fast GPU, then it really, really helps. Or at the Mac, for example, some of the audio processing runs on the neural engine, right? It uses the neural engine, loads the neural network model, and then runs on that thing. So it runs only on a Mac, at least for me, some of the software.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we've lost every listener by now.
Yeah, with our IT talk. Okay, so talking about your first watch.
Yes, so today's topic is our first watch, and what first watch should you, I don't know why anybody without a first watch would be listening to us, but generally what we tell people, maybe you use this. When people ask you, as you're the listener, you're the watch person, people ask you, what first watch should I buy? Let's talk about some of the first watches that we think are good watches. I've, of course, recommended a bunch of these. I've, there's good watches also, and then there's watches that you probably shouldn't get as a first watch. So we'll go down both avenues.
Yeah, I think just as a general tip, one of my first higher priced watches was my Hamilton that I still have. My Hamilton khaki 3 time zone speedboat racing or something. It has Jumeirah Beach on the
Jumeirah Beach
as one of the locations on the internal rotating bezel. So you can actually choose different locations there. Then I have a Citizen chronograph perpetual calendar, which I recently tried to get a new battery for. The new battery was installed and still didn't run, so I guess I have to send it into Citizen to repair. But I want it to work because that was one of the nicest watches I have, and I still love this watch. I still like wearing it every now and then. But of course, it has to show the time, otherwise, no point. And then, of course, my first really luxury watch was a Mont Blanc, followed by the Breitling, which I considered my first real luxury watch. Breitling Super Ocean, and that I sold, I got back. So one of the things is the first real luxury watch. Don't sell it; just keep it for some kind of.
Why? I disagree.
Emotional taste.
I disagree entirely.
But what I wanted to say with that, for your first watch, you have probably relatively little idea what you're doing because you're not, at this time at least, I wasn't even interested in watches that much. I always liked watches. I was always checking watches out on the display showcases, but I wasn't really reading about watches, didn't have any books about watches or anything like that. Yep. It was just general curiosity, but nothing more than that. It wasn't a hobby or anything like that. Then when you start getting into these more higher priced watches, I had both. I bought my Breitling, but I've also bought a couple of Orients at the time. There was Orient trying to get in the US market, and they sold some of their watches with like 50-60% discount in the US. And I bought a couple of these Marco, the divers and all of this stuff. And I was surprised of how much mechanical goodness you get from these Orient watches at the time. So have a broad mind of what you would like. You very likely will change your taste once you get into watches more and more. So there's one thing, but on the other hand is just buy something that you can try first. So how does it look on your wrist? Because that's something that you also don't know how different it can actually then look on your wrist once you see it on a screen, and then you put it on your wrist and feel, oh, it's not comfortable, or it looks really odd on my wrist, or it's too big, it's too small. All of these things you can only see if you try. So try a lot of watches, go into a lot of shops, go to a lot of meetups, and just try everything you see until you have a feeling like, wow, this is on my wrist. It looks like something I really want to have and I really want to own. And then go for that. Take your time.
Yes.
It's a journey.
It is. Now, as you said, you say keep your first watch. I say you don't need to keep it. I don't have my first watch, and I don't regret selling it at all. Now, my watch journey started with, I remember my first, what I thought was a real watch. It was a Victorinox. A Victorinox Chrono. I think it was called the Victorinox Classic Chrono in blue dial. And it was a watch that I thought it's still to this day, it's a very good looking watch. But
it's Victorinox.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's called the Classic Chrono. And I don't think they sell it anymore, obviously. But the thing is, I wanted a Swiss watch. That's the one thing we all know, right? You want to say, oh, I want Swiss-made watch.
Yes.
So I bought this one, and it was a chrono. I was very excited. It was a quartz chrono, of course. Looked much like the one you have your hand on right there. But of course, we didn't have fancy bracelets at the time.
Yup.
And it says $800 as the price on it, but I think I paid $200 for it after discount. So the chrono hand didn't work. So I would press go, and I think it was the minute counter was broken. So then I got another one, and that one worked. But nonetheless, I wore that one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was my only watch. I wore it every single day, beat the hell out of it. And it was a good watch. I learned a few things by buying that watch. First and foremost, I learned that blue doesn't go with everything.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first thing that I learned. Second thing I learned was that I'm not really a chrono person. I'm much more of a dive watch person. And the third thing I learned from that watch was I don't like big watches. So these are the three things, the three takeaways. I think this was a 42 millimeter, I would guess. And that was one of the smaller watches that Victorinox was selling at the time. They had like 45 millimeters, gigantic things. So then my next watch afterwards, which I really don't know why I bought this second watch. It was a watch that I still to this day have, and it was a Timex.
Mm-hmm.
It was for those of you that know, in the US, there's J. Crew, which is their kind of the Ralph Lauren-ish type brand. And they did, in the early 2000s, 2010, I think, ish, they did a limited edition collaboration with Timex, and they had, I think, 3 different watches. And one of them was a blue dive watch on a NATO strap. And for some reason, this just spoke to me. And it was a small one. I think it was 36 millimeters with an 18 millimeter NATO strap, matching blue NATO strap. I still have it. It's still sitting here. And I got that. And I was surprised because it cost less than $100. And I was wearing this way more than I was wearing my Victorinox, which cost 8 times as much. Retail.
Inox. You know, the Inox stands for steel, so...
Yes, of course. And Victor was the name of the guy who created it. So why? And then my mind, of course, said, why do I have this cheap watch that I like more than the expensive one? And I realized, okay, I like NATO straps. I like smaller watches. I like dive watches. Those were the 3 things I learned from that one. So naturally, I said, okay, I still didn't understand sizing perfectly. So the next one I said, I'm going to buy a dive watch. So I knew that I wanted a blue dive watch. That was the thing. So my first real watch when I moved to the UAE in 2015, literally like off the plane to the watch place. And I bought this was at
off the boat,
Timepiece 360. Yes, boat, but I came over off the refugee, the refugee boat. Mm-hmm. Speaking of refugees, here's a nice aside. Did you know that there's a movie on Netflix about these 2 girls, the Syrian refugees? They moved to Germany.
The swimming story.
The swimming story, yeah. Did you know what I just saw the other day? They are the new brand ambassadors to Longines.
Ah, see? Great.
Yeah, which I was like, that's very random.
Lovely.
Nonetheless.
Love to hear that.
So anyways, I knew I wanted a blue dive watch. I went to Timepiece 360, which was at the time a small display in a jewelry store. And I met Khalid for the first time. And I said, I want a blue dive watch. So he showed me a few different ones. Obviously, I wanted it to be cheap, right? Like you're thinking to yourself, I remember it was $5,000. And I was thinking to myself, whoa, that's so much money to spend on a watch. I didn't even know the difference between quartz and the mechanical at the time. So I was like trying to figure all this out. But nonetheless, I ended up with a Tag Heuer because that's one of the few brands that everybody knows, right? Tag Heuer. And you're like, oh, why would I spend double this for an Omega or quadruple this for a Rolex when I could buy the Tag Heuer, which in my mind was at the same level as all these other ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I bought this. I wore it for probably, I would say, 1 year. maybe. I think it was even less than 1 year. And then I said, you know what I really want is a Rolex. And then the floodgates open.
That's in a time where I think the watch generally exploded a bit more, right? The whole information about watches.
Yeah. This was Hodinkee, like starting up, right?
Exactly. So that also, of course, started a bit more of a broad swell, right? So where you have a groundswell, let's not say it this way, groundswell of more watch-related content. You had forums, other things that became more prominent and had more users, and it just was, the hobby became a bit more front and center with a lot of people.
And Archie Luxury didn't like Tag Heuers, and I remember watching. I was sitting at Ratana on the patio there, and I was like, I wonder what on YouTube is people are saying about my new watch. And Archie Luxury immediately was like, Tag Heuer is such a shitter, and this and that, and I'm like, ooh, apparently Tag Heuer is not good. Like, I should have done some research before I bought it.
No, Tag Heuer is great, and especially nowadays. I mean, they have come a long way.
But this is 10 years ago. It wasn't that great. 10 years ago, they were kind of doing really not good stuff. So
it depends. I mean, they had a broad range of things, right? So but I think in general, it's for your first watch itself. If you just buy what you like. Don't let yourself be fooled that there's very strong opinionated people in the watch world, and there's so many gatekeepers and people who tell you, oh no, you shouldn't do this, or you should have that. Your first watch should not be a chronograph. Your first watch should not be a GMT or a world timer or whatever, or a quartz watch. It doesn't matter what other people say. Buy what you like. Like you were influenced by somebody else telling you that your watch is shit, which you will have at any time with any watch. You buy a Rolex and you will have 15 people telling you, oof, you are just such a show-off. This is rubbish. You can get better watches with more horological value for cheaper, and so on and so on. There is always somebody who will tell you that your watch is not good. And you should have bought something else. So just don't.
But hold on. I want to say this, though. At some point, you will stop listening to those people. You will start listening to what you actually like. Mm-hmm. And right now, if you come to me and tell me one of my watches is a shitter, I'm just going to say, no, it's not. This does exactly what I want for what I want, right? Mm-hmm. And this is the thing is, at some point, you will develop your own sense of what is right, what is wrong, your watch moral compass. And then you'll not care what other people say.
No,
right?
And as long as the watch brings a smile on your face when you have it on your wrist and you look at it, then that's all it needs to do, right? That's the whole purpose of it. So,
it is superfluous as hell at the end of the day, right? So these are things you don't
completely obsolete.
No one needs one. I had a kid. My next door neighbor's kids were in town, and the boy is 11, and he saw that I was wearing a watch. And his first thing that he said was, what kind of idiot still wears a watch when your phone tells the time? And I'm like, this could be a very long discussion. He doesn't know what he's asking.
So first of all, come here in my little arm jail, and you get a head rub, and I will tell you why you should wear a watch.
Yeah.
And after this
I didn't bother to do this.
8-hour waterboarding session, you will happily go and wear a watch.
Yeah.
No, of course not.
And you will... No, never. We would never torture, ever.
Children.
Right?
No, of course not.
No, anyone at
But
all.
what I'm saying is you should never force any opinion onto anybody else. But this is a very common thing that a lot of people, or a lot of younger people, don't wear watches because it's something that you also just generally develop in the later stages in life, right? I mean, they do like their smartwatches at some stage, right? And eventually a nice watch when you are in, whatever, early career, mid-career in your job, and you feel like, I like to have a nice watch. You see other people wearing nice watches and you think, that could be nice. I could see myself doing this, as most likely a jewelry piece, right? And one of the few jewelry pieces men can wear, right? Which are not, a big if you're not just, let's say, a pop musician or a rapper, and you just don't wear big Cuban chains.
Did you hear about the guy who got sucked into the MRI machine?
No.
Apparently, I think this was of course it was in America. Of course it was in America. A guy was going into a hospital, and he was apparently wearing a 20-pound or a 10-kilo gold chain. And apparently, of course, he got killed. He got sucked into an MRI machine, head first. His body literally like folded in half, and he died. Now, first and foremost, this tells us a lot of things about this person. Why? Why are you wearing a 10-kilo gold chain? And secondly, it wasn't gold.
Yeah.
Because gold's not magnetic. Yes. So this guy had a fake 10-kilo gold chain on, and that was the last thing he ever did.
People with jewelry even to go close to an MRI machine, even if you swear it's gold. Nobody would allow you to wear jewelry next to an MRI machine.
So like this is something that like you have to laugh at. Like you're an idiot. So anyway, go on. So yes, most men in the world don't wear a bunch of jewelry unless they're rappers. This guy looked like he was a rapper. I think he was from Florida.
Yeah, so I think it's just one thing of your personal individual expression. A watch can, and that's why there are so many, and that's why there's no right and wrong. I mean, there are some really, really ugly watches, right? These big chain Invictas, for example. We're talking about gold chains, right? That I actually have these gold chains around the bracelet and around the bezel. They're super big. They're 56 millimeters or 58 millimeters big, and they look really, really ugly for some. But for some, they might be really just exactly what the doctor ordered, and then that's what you want to wear.
Sure.
So it's a bit of self-expression, right? So I had also some watches just for very, very specific use cases. For example, if you have to wear a military uniform and you think, yeah, I want to have something more in khaki colors or in military green or something else that just blends in, or if you're going to safaris and you want to have the more muted colors that you want to wear there and not necessarily attract tsetse flies or something else. So there's a lot of things that you might consider for your watch, but in the end, it's for you. Just wear something that's appropriate for each of your use cases. If you want something that looks nice with a suit, well, then be careful, right? What you choose for. Not too loud, not too big, not the super orange diver watch or something, because that will probably not be looking very nice with a suit, if that's what you want, right? And if you just want to buy one watch, because most people do, saying, okay, this is my watch and I want to wear it for everything, right? So then you probably need to check a bit for something more compatible for everything. But on the other hand, you can always choose not to wear a watch with a suit. If you're saying, I want this dive watch that is orange and loud and fancy and colorful, then wear it whenever you want, except when you can't.
Now, when it comes to these things, the other thing, by the way, we talk a lot of crap about Invicta.
Yeah.
The thing is, Invicta has a very good heritage.
Yes,
and
that's true.
We need to remember that, much like Movado, these companies have taken this brand history, this name, and then just killed it essentially with these terrible designs.
They still have some normal watches that are looking actually quite okay.
Do they? The Invicta just has a bunch of homages, right?
I think they also have their own design, which is not necessarily all bad. But it's a good question. I don't even know what they have at the moment. But I saw some Invictas that are just some good divers and stuff. Let me just go to the website of Invicta watches. They always have these different these outlets sometimes which sell very interesting ones. Oh, look, they have a Formula One watch that is pretty cool. Did you see that?
The Richard Mille knockoffs I see.
No, here, where they have the Formula One cars or Indy cars.
It's not
around.
Formula One. It's not Formula One.
It's not Formula One. It's
Formula 2.
Is it Formula 2?
Why? It is. Because Invicta is a title sponsor for a Formula 2 team.
Oh, they are. Okay, see?
Yep.
Interesting.
And I remember making fun of them for that.
Yeah, and you have a big button here on the side. I guess you can just pull the button there and then the cars go spin around.
But do they mention this somewhere? Like, look, is this mentioned anywhere that they're a Formula 2 sponsor?
I don't know.
Because it'd be kind of ridiculous if they don't. Like, why would they spend all this money on this sponsorship and not go into it?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that Invicta also is it's like a conglomerate, a small one though, a watch conglomerate. They own a couple of other brands as well, like Glycine, which does have some, especially dive watch pedigree, right? So Glycine has really, really nice dive watches, the Combat range and some others. They have, I think, a few collections, the Airman, the Air Pilot, the Combat, and the Sea Kraken. So really cool. And they're actually quite nice. I had a Glycine once for a while, a nice diver on a sailcloth strap, which I liked quite a bit. But it wasn't really my cup of tea at the end. But they do some really good diver watches there. And they're also part of Invicta. I mean, owned by Invicta. But yeah, a lot of these Invicta watches are a bit loud. They're a bit big. They are, they're an acquired taste. Let's say it this way, right? Let's go to new arrivals and see a look. And then we see, some of it is that makes you... have a new Gladiator. This is the one I was talking about. If you want to have a laugh, guys, go on Google and Google for the Invicta Gladiator. Oof, I think you will put it in the show notes or in our Instagram. But this is a 58.3 millimeter gigantomanic quartz watch. Yeah. Which has chains around the bracelet, which is just absolutely, I would say, hideous. But hey, I mean, if you are a big person, no, I don't think anybody can pull this off. It says invincible in detail since 1837. Think about it. That's a watch brand that's around since 1837.
Yeah.
Just saying. They do these kind of watches. They also do normal watches. If you look at their collections, they have, I think, around 35 to 40 different collections of watches. From Sea Vulture to Sea Spider to Sea Monster, Sea Hunter to Wildflower to Venom to Aviator. Everything is there. Let me see Venom. Venom looks good. Thermoglow. Everything is represented at Invicta. Venom is, I think, like the movie Venom.
Yes, Venom. I'm guessing.
I mean, this is also wow.
They're really trying to be AP over here.
I don't know.
I think so.
This is what I wanted to show. The collections. Look at these collections. Did you see
Such
that?
beautiful collections.
So many.
Yeah, fake Rolexes, fake APs, a fake.
Let me see.
Richard Milles.
Wow. This is like a steampunk watch. Sorry, we just saw the King. What is it? King Python, Invicta King Python. If you want to have a laugh, I think that's also one of these. Wow. I mean, this is.
I'll just put a bunch of Invicta pictures as our recommendation for first watches.
Why are you even talking about Invicta now? 50 millimeters.
I don't know.
My goodness.
Once again, you brought it up. But now, okay, let's talk about actual recommendations for first watches because I know we've all done this, right? You want to watch? Invicta's always there. Invicta always seems cheaper than everything. And I have to say, as when I first got into watches, I would say before I knew anything about watches, all I knew about was, the department store brands, fashion watches. And I would think Invicta was a good company. It says, there's the F2 car, by the way. Mm-hmm. Look at this Submariner knockoff for $56.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they had automatic watches. and they were Swiss made, so they say on some of them. So there was some good stuff. Nonetheless, I definitely would not recommend anyone ever buys an Invicta. On the other hand, I think I also wouldn't recommend for your first watch to be a quartz watch. I think if you are to go down the line of buying a quartz watch, you will, I would say within a matter of months, regret it and say that you want to buy a proper mechanical watch. The reason I say this, I had a friend. I still have a friend. Sorry. He's still around.
It's hard to believe. Yeah, maybe.
He bought, and he was messaging me. He was so excited about it. He's like, I want to buy a watch. I want to buy a watch. And I said, okay, what do you want? And he said, I want something big. And like he wanted a 43 millimeter. And he said he wants a Tag Heuer. So he ended up getting a Tag Heuer for me. The older generation one. The one with a ceramic bezel. And it was quite a nice watch. But of course it was quartz, and he bought it, and I think he paid like 3,000 dirhams for it on Chrono 24. And I remember he was messaging me, "Is Chrono 24 legit?" etc., etc. He ended up buying it, got it, and then literally like a couple days later, he's like, "I want a tutor," and I'm like, "This is exactly what happens. Like, skip the middleman. You don't need to get the first, quartz watch and then say, oh, I want to sell it and go." Leapfrog it to a mechanical, tutor or something, right? I would still say there's two options here. It depends on what you want to spend. Do you want to spend $500 and that's all you want to spend? You go Hamilton khaki all day long. Mechanical winding, you get to really, be hands-on with it, winding it every day. And that's going to show you how to care for a watch, how a watch would work and how it wears. If you want to spend more money, then the next offering that I would give you would be the Tudor Black Bay 58, which I think 58 would be the perfect size for most people. So those are the two that I would say would be perfect first watches that would get you into the hobby, that you would keep in the long run. Because what you don't want to do is, as Ralph said, sell your first watch, right? If you buy the wrong watch, you will sell it. So these two, I think, could live forever in any collection.
Mm-hmm.
If you have infinite money to spend, I don't know. What would you buy? What would you recommend?
I think it depends. If you are, you can be very happy with a quartz watch. You are wearing one right now, so the thing is, it doesn't.
I don't think I'd be happy if it was my only watch.
Yeah, but this is also something that you have to consider. Some people just realize as well that this whole thing about keeping a watch wound and having, just to set it over all the time. For some people, it's not something they aspire to.
That's the point. That's the point.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. If you say that's the point of mechanical watches, yes, you have some interaction with the watch. We do tend to like this, that you have to take care of your watch, otherwise it will stop working. It will stop ticking. You eventually have to put it for service, not just a battery change. But some people don't like it, so that's also something you have to understand as a watch purchase. Obviously, when you're watching or listening to our podcast, then you are already on a different level of watch enthusiasm, I would say. So you're
already out of touch with reality.
You're already down in the rabbit hole, and probably if you are going for a quartz watch, then it's a very deliberate decision. But in general, I still have a lot of people who are saying like, no, I can't be bothered with this whole winding and setting and then all of this stuff, and I have to correct the watch every couple of weeks or once a month because it's a minute off. Some people just don't feel it, right? Some people are happy with a watch that is very precise. Look, Grand Seiko. Grand Seiko is one of these watches that is high-end, expensive luxury quartz watches. There is a market for it.
I would give you that. Okay, let me put it this way. There's a number of quartz watches that I would say it's okay. One is Grand Seiko because, once again, their history of making quartz watches is ridiculous, right? They're growing their own quartz crystals. It's, insanely accurate. And the second one, I would say, is Cartier. Cartier has a long heritage with quartz watches, and when you buy a Cartier, I think you're not really buying the movement; you're buying the design. And for that, once again, it's okay, especially in certain Cartiers, such as the Panthère. The Panthère never came in anything but quartz, so it would be wrong to buy it in mechanical, for instance.
Yeah, and some other watches like the Bulgari Serpenti, the Turbogas, right? These also came originally only in quartz. Now they have their own automatic watches as well, movements inside. So you can buy them also with automatic movements. But for the longest time, they only came in quartz and still are fantastic watches just from their design and how they were made. So it depends. So that's also the next one. Like now you mentioned Cartier and Bulgari, which are both of these watches are women's watches. Right?
No. You can go and buy yourself a quartz, one of these quartz tanks, right?
Yeah, I know. That's true.
And I think if I saw somebody and their one watch, this is 10K, right? It's not breaking the bank, extreme amounts of money. You spend 10,000 dirhams, you buy one quartz Cartier tank, and you will be better dressed in the watch terms than 99% of the people out there. And you could wear that one watch forever.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I'm saying is there are different watches. There are quartz watches that are totally accepted with everybody. I mean, FP Journe has their own Elegante collection, which is a quartz watch, and nobody would look at your watch. No watch nerd would look at your FP Journe and say, "But it's quartz. It's a shitter." Not gonna happen. So it's a bit of a hypocritical statement to say it's quartz and hence it's not great.
Yes, but quartz. My argument is that quartz is easy, and if you want to get into a hobby, you should dive in head first and kind of do. How do I say it? You do the thing that's going to be harder to do. Set the watch, wind the watch. Don't just take the easy way out because you're lazy.
Yeah, and you might
afterwards you could buy some quartz watches.
You might get hooked with that. One of the reasons why when you start watch collecting, you are usually one of these people as well, where you're saying, "Oh, I want to have a transparent case back. I want to see the movement," right? Even the cheaper ones, right? The Orients, the Tissot's, they have very often transparent case backs because people like to see that it's actually mechanical. They want to see the rotor spinning. They want to see all the little parts that move because they're fascinated that this little mechanical thing with hundreds of pieces actually can tell the time relatively accurate. And that's fascinating. And I think that's why a lot of people are saying, "Oh, but why would you want to see a very industrial mechanical movement, which is not particularly nice?" Exactly for that reason, because you're fascinated by the technology behind it. And you do not see this if the watch is closed. I often feel like if you have a closed case back, then you can also just wear a quartz watch because it doesn't matter. You can't see anything, right? Yeah.
I argue, like when you get the higher end quartz watches, like the Grand Seikos, those have display.
There's not much to see except that even that,
and those you're able to see.
The jewels that are inside, they are decorated. They are really. There's a one watchmaker making one quartz movement. That's at least at Grand Seiko. You really know that there is a lot of handwork is still involved in making this watch and decorating it. But it's it's just buy what you like. And just try to not be too influenced, because it doesn't matter who's trying to influence you. It doesn't matter which YouTube channel you watch. You will get a bias based on what they are trying to tell you of what you should buy and wear. And in the end, the good ones will always tell you, like, just buy with your heart about what you really desire and what really works on your wrist. Right? Sometimes, and you will make mistakes. I mean, this is also something that is totally okay. Right? Yeah. Don't let this discourage you that sometimes you might make a mistake. You buy a watch and you think that this is the best thing. It will make me so happy. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work for you, or it's uncomfortable to wear, or the bracelet doesn't work. Sometimes you can change the bracelet, the strap, whatever, and it's transforming your watch into your most favorite one. Or it's just all wasted, and it just never works. And you sometimes have to accept this kind of defeat and saying, okay, this is not for me. The watch I thought was to be my perfect watch is just not working. And then you change. Or put it in the drawer or whatever. Don't spend too much money either on your first watch.
I was thinking the other thing that you shouldn't do is buy, let's say you have infinite money. Don't buy a Rolex Submariner as your first watch, because modern Rolexes are an order of magnitude better than most everything out there, right? If you start with that, you will be let down by everything else for quite some time, right? I remember when I first, I had my Tag Heuer. After the Tag Heuer, I had an Omega. After the Omega, I had a Tudor. And even the Tudor was already better than the Omega in terms of fit and finish, right? And I was thinking to myself, like, wow, like it's unbelievable how nice these Tudors are. And then I got the Rolex. And the fit and finish and everything on the Rolex was so nice that I was like, why would you buy anything else at this point, right? Why would you buy anything else? It's going to be worse. And that was my big issue. And that's another big hurdle to overcome. Yeah, the Rolex is a fantastic one-watch collection. You have it forever, any Rolex. But you have to build up to it. You have to understand what else is out there, because I think it's harder to go backwards than building up, right? If you go on your first car is a freaking, BMW M3, then you're not going to.
It really depends, I think.
A Volkswagen Golf.
It really depends. You have people who have very high-end cars and then also have some low-end cars, or buy them later on, because you've done it. You have experienced it. Sometimes it is okay to just either put it into your collection, your car collection, or something else. Huh?
But don't you think they start down there? They work their way up and then they work their way back down. No, like if you start at the top, then I feel like you still have to work your way up from the top. So, look at certain individuals that we know in the watch world, right? Their first watch is a Rolex, then they want a Patek, then they want an AP, then they want this. And then they might work their way back down, but they're not going to go much below Rolex
watch collecting can be very, very interesting and different, right? Because you don't know where it takes you, right? Sometimes it's you bought a Casio just now, you bought a G-Shock, but you already had G-Shocks early in your life, and you are now going back to buy another G-Shock because you like it, you like wearing it. So
yes,
I do know that, and backwards. You had, let's say, when was the last G-Shock you bought? You said 10 years ago you bought a Tag Heuer, then you wanted a Rolex, and you got one. Yeah, okay. I mean, I say
before that, I would say like 20 years ago I had G-Shocks.
Yeah, don't go for the end game piece with your first watch. And for a lot of people, a Rolex Submariner is an end game piece. Just be honest. This is the one watch that some people buy at the peak of their career, or when they retire, to say that this is it. This is the crowning achievement of my work life, for example. And then they buy this one Rolex. And this is, if you buy this when you're 20 years old, you most likely won't appreciate it in the same way, because it's way too early for that. But on the other hand, it's very tough to say don't do it if you have the money and you have the means. But it's generally, I would say, grow a bit with your taste and know which one you really want. Yeah.
And the other thing that I've seen, which I recently just heard, I know of a guy, you know who you are, who has a Rolex Submariner, bought it when his son was born and put it in a safe, and is still in the coffin, the plastic coffin box. And he said he's going to give it to his son when the son turns 18. And on the other hand, I bought a watch when my daughter was born, but I bought it for myself to wear, right? And I have told my daughter that she's going to get this when she's 18, the Speedmaster. But she sees me wearing it all the time, right? I wear this watch, I bang it around, I beat it up. And
yes, and
people
they
are
have
saying,
to look at the family pictures, and they see you with that watch on the family pictures.
With you.
And if you are eventually, moved on to a different life form, not anymore on this planet, they will still see these pictures. They will still see dad with that watch, and they have then some kind of relationship with it. If it's just a watch coming out of a safe that was bought at the specific time, it's not the same connection, right? It doesn't have not much from you except your money is in it.
No, it's not. And that's what kind of... I've told him a couple times to sell it, and he said no, he's not going to sell it. But he bought 2 subs that day. One for him and one for the son. And he wears his religiously. And the one for the son went to the safe.
Exactly. He takes the new,
and I told him,
old
give
one
him
out
the
of the safe
you're
and gives the used one to his son,
because
that's the one that should remind him of his dad all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say with this is when people buy these first watches,
it's a heirloom.
Say, you know what, I'm going to buy a super expensive watch because my kids will inherit it down the line. It's an heirloom, right? It's not an heirloom if you don't wear it. So that's another thing that you shouldn't make the mistake of getting something that is too expensive.
I think sometimes it's just the excuse to buy this very expensive thing
for you, and then you
like
don't wear it because of it.
I just, I'm just a temporary, wearer of this watch because I will pass it on to my, to my son, my daughter, and so on. So, but it's okay if that's it. But if you wear it, I think then it's fine because it has, just given you its value back. Because I don't think. And in the end, maybe you have somebody who is like your neighbor's kid who says like, thank you very much, Dad, but I just don't wear watches.
He has 3 watches, one for himself, one to give to his daughter, and one to give to his son. So he does, but he's wearing all 3 currently, and all 3 were purchased from me.
No, I mean...
So I got him into this. The first one I got him into was the Hamilton khaki. So he got a Hamilton khaki.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's a different one. That's a different guy. My next door neighbor is the one with the Hamilton khaki, and then he got a Longines and he got a Oris, all from me when I was selling things. He's like, I'll take it. And now he's got a plan of giving one to his daughter and one to his son on their 18th birthday.
Yeah, I think,
so once again, he's wearing these watches. So they see him wearing these watches as we.
One colleague I had once, French lady, and she had a nice Rolex. They just, I think 34, 30, whatever, this kind of size. And she got it for her graduation from university.
They just didn't come in 34.
Nice event, because then also you're in a bit more mature, and you might need this. Yeah, you're going to work. You will have something where you can appreciate it more. 18 is always like, okay, you're in most cases you're an adult. Sometimes for some areas you have to be 21, but you're still going to university. You still have a bit of a wild life before you start actual work. So it's like, I don't know if it's already that time where you have to get a Rolex, or if it's a bit pretentious at that age to have a Rolex already, or any kind of luxury watch in this case. I don't know either. Yeah. It also depends. If you are living in a castle and you have butlers and a couple of Rolls Royces driving around, then it might be just fine. But if you have a just normal life, sometimes, depending where you grow up or where you live, it can also spoil you a bit, right? Because here, yesterday I was in
I was going to say this,
with my wife, and there was
it depends on what circles you run in.
Reserving her seat and then going to the restroom or whatever she was doing, or having smoking a cigarette. She left the table, and she reserved the place there with her Birkin, with her mini Birkin. So that's when you think, we are spoiled, and that was nothing super special. It wasn't a golf club, but it's when you think, this is where we are here in this region specifically spoiled, that everybody seems to have a Rolex. Okay, probably A lot of them are fake, but there's still a lot of them are real. And depending in which circles you are, probably all of them are real. And it makes you feel like you need to have one just to belong or just to be on par with others. But on the other hand,
but then that just puts you on par. And that's what I don't like about this whole Rolex game, so right? Like, do you really want to spend all this money to be on par with a bunch of other people?
What others do.
No.
You have the really, really rich people that actually wear what they want.
Yes.
And they don't care. Because
but wear it. Whatever you do,
that's also one
of
the things where you can just be removing yourself from this rat race of trying to fit in, belong, or show some status in just not playing that game. And just being confident enough, just being yourself. That's good. That's a good way of seeing it.
And I believe, honestly, once again, there was this YouTuber called Brave Beaters. He's a Romanian guy. And he, at some point, sold two of his Rolexes. He had 3 Rolexes. He sold 2 of them at the same time, roughly, that I sold 2 of my Rolexes. And he said, for some reason, these are the 2 hardest watches you will ever sell, because you are admitting to yourself that you don't want these Rolexes anymore. And Rolexes were always kind of these grail items, right? These are the ones that everyone told you for your entire life, this is what you should have. And you letting go of these 2 pieces essentially is admitting to the world that,
I know, this bombshell.
Screw it. I don't even care.
We have to stop for today.
And that's hard.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for more. Yeah, if you want to give us more, a minimum 4-star reviews, please. Not lower than that, but give us more real. And we are trying our best to improve over time. And stick with us, and we will hear and listen. And no, you can hear and listen to us again 1 week from now. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.